Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimmirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesh Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarin Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Vancha kalpatarubhyascha pavanebhyo Hare Krishna. So welcome everyone to our ongoing daily evening series on the discussion of Kuntī Stuti, the 8th chapter of the first canto of Granth-raj Srimad Bhagavatam. Granth-raj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Kuntī Devi ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Gaur Premanande! So today, let's start off with text 27, Namo Akincana Vittaya. So we can have the verses on the screen. We will read the verse and then we will get started. Namo Kinchana Vittaya Nivritta Gunavrittaye Atmarama and Shantaya Kaivalya Pataye Namaha Manye Tvam Kalamishanam Anadinidhanam Vibhum Samam Charantam Sarvatra Bhutanam Yanmita Kali. Hare Krishna. So yesterday we were discussing about Janmaishwarya Shruta Shribhi Edamana Matapuman Naivarhatyabhidhatum vai tvam Akincana Gocharam. And Queen Kuntī starts today's discussion with Namo Akincana Vittaya. The common word that is found in the conclusion of the previous verse and the start of the verse of today's consideration is the word Akincana. In fact, Srila Prabhupada had a god brother by the name Krishnadas. Srila Prabhupada would call him Akincana Krishnadas. Babaji Maharaj. He was a very exalted disciple of Srila Prabhupada, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And our Prabhupada had a very beautiful, loving relationship with this god brother. In fact, Srila Prabhupada once said, referring to this god brother, that Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj, oh, he's Akincana. And then Prabhupada explains, he has no material possessions. He's completely surrendered to Krishna. And Srila Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj was like that. In fact, it is described historically. Srila Prabhupada Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur had put a news article on a newspaper. We are looking in for a devotee who can come and live in the Gaudiya Math, who can just chant 24 hours. And I will take care of his maintenance. I will take care of his prasadam. I will take care of his stay and accommodation and everything. He put a newspaper article looking for devotees of that caliber. And there comes Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj with a bead bag in his hand. And when asked, he came with the newspaper cut out. And he said, I want to apply for this job. And what's the job requirement? 24-hour chanting. And he moved into the Gaudiya Math. And surely enough, it wasn't very easy for others to digest. Because he would come down, honor prasadam, and go back to his room and continue to chant. And this point was raised to Srila Prabhupada Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, that here is a person chanting 24 hours a day. He's not doing anything else. We are asked to do everything else, but he's not doing anything, he's only chanting. And Srila Prabhupada Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, we need like devotees of his caliber in the Gaudiya Math also. And he told, when all of you come to that caliber, where you have so much taste in hearing and chanting, I won't let you do anything, I'll let you chant. But since you don't have so much taste, you have to engage in practical service. Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada said. And that's our case too. Srila Prabhupada said, we shouldn't imitate Namacharya Haridas Thakur. Because we cannot. We may want to, but we cannot. Because we don't have so much taste. Let's say if you even have 164 round on, let's say, Pandav Nirjala Ekadashi, there's so much planning for it. And then after about 30 rounds, it's number game. At least for me, it's little dragging. I wish I can just have a change in service and then get back to chanting. But pure Vaishnavas like Namacharya Haridas Thakur and Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj, they had taste to chant the holy name continuously. And this great Vaishnava was so detached in this world. It was very cold. Winter nights were very cold. And he would be all night long chanting on his mridanga. He had the record of chanting 24 hours a day. He would chant japa, he would chant kirtan, and he would have these little stickers of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. He would go and stick them wherever he went, just to preach the holy name. Like he would go to a bus station, no airports at that time, bus station, train station, and he would stick. So whenever there are stickers, they would know Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj has walked through this place. That's why he stuck these little cards of the holy name, posters of the holy name. When this great Vaishnava, Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj, one evening was gifted with a very comfortable woolen shawl to cover himself. Babaji Maharaj said, I am a renunciant, I can't use this woolen shawl. He would be completely bare-chested, just a little cloth up to the knee and a kopin inside and nothing on the top, just chanting. And he's mentioned also in the journey home by Srila Radhanath Maharaj. And Akincana Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj, his favorite word for everything was Hare Krishna. If you ask him a question, Hare Krishna. If he has to say yes, Hare Krishna. If he had to say no, Hare Krishna. You get to know from the tone whether it's a yes or a no. Like devotees in the present time. If there's a good news, Hari Bol. Somebody's birthday, Hari Bol. Something very exciting, Hari Bol. When you want to call someone, Hari Bol. How many of us want prasadam, head count? Hari Bol. So for everything there's Hari Bol. So Babaji Maharaj was like this. And when he was offered a woolen shawl to protect himself, let's not forget the train of thought. This is elaboration on the word Akincana Vittaya. Just so that we don't forget. When he was given this woolen shawl, he held the woolen shawl and he said, I can't accept it because I'm a renunciant. They said, but we are offering it with love. Doesn't Krishna say, Tat kurushva madarpanam? Anything bhaktya prayachati, patram pushpam phalam toyam, yome bhaktya prayachati. Anything given with love should be accepted. Now what should he do? Should he accept or should he not accept? It's quite fascinating. He accepted it, placed it to his head, and he said, yes, this is mine, but I will keep it with you. Yes, this is my shawl, but I will keep it with you, and whenever I need, I will ask you. And he never asked him. Srila Prabhupada recalled Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj, and he said, oh, he was Akincana, which means he never had any material possessions. And whatever he had, he would give it to Krishna. One day when this great Vaishnava, Akincana Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj, came to see Srila Prabhupada, some associates of Srila Prabhupada who were young boys at that time, they were in their 20s. They saw this person in rugged clothes with a bead bag in his hand saying, Hare Krishna with Dwadasha Tilak, and just walking towards Prabhupada's room. So they guarded. They said, who are you? What do you want? He said, I want to meet your Prabhupada. He said, no, Prabhupada is resting. They asked Akincana Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj to leave. Of course, the servant was doing his service. Prabhupada told him to guard the door. But he didn't know who that was. So when Srila Prabhupada heard something at the door, he called the servant and he said, who is it? And the servant said, somebody seems like your age, little old, I don't know, maybe a beggar of the street. Prabhupada said, what were his characteristics? He said he was constantly saying Hare Krishna and his eyes were moist. Prabhupada's eyes went wide and he said, Akincana Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj. Just by the characteristics. And Prabhupada said, call him. And when they got Akincana Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj, Prabhupada's eyes went wide. And he got up from his seat and he went and held Babaji Maharaj by the hand and made him sit next to him. And for the next 1 hour, they were joking like children in Bengali. And the same servant who was guarding the door, he said, I didn't understand anything. But I was just happy that Prabhupada had a friend, because that was the first time that servant at the door, he saw Prabhupada have a friendly relationship, like a god-brother stature. Because all the time it was disciples and servants and assistants. But this time it was like a god-brother. This was the first meeting he saw. And Srila Prabhupada told the servant, this is Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj, and he is known as Akincana because he's completely surrendered. So dear devotees, Kuntī Devi, by saying Tvam Akincana Gocharam, Namo Akincana Vittaya. In Sanskrit, this is very interesting. Kinchana means something. Akincana means nothing, not even something. It doesn't mean the person doesn't possess anything material. It means the person doesn't get attached to that material object. Doesn't get attached. Now, for example, if you see Srila Prabhupada had so many things. He had cars, he had sweaters, he had watches. I'm remembering one time His Grace Vibhishana Prabhu said, this is quite fascinating. Srila Prabhupada had come to Hong Kong. And Prabhupada was in the Hilton area. It was very upmarket and posh. The room was big and luxurious, and Prabhupada had a little bed. And Vibhishana Prabhu had the service of setting the bed for Prabhupada. And he says, Prabhupada was so small in stature, as far as his height is concerned, and the bed was so big and the room was even bigger. And I was making this bed. And at that time, in the evening, the press reporters, the news reporters came to interview Srila Prabhupada. And they asked Prabhupada this question. They said, Swamiji, you're a sannyasi. You speak about renunciation. Why is it that you're living in such a luxurious room? Now, apparently it may seem to be exactly opposite to the lifestyle of Akincana Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj, but it's not. We will reconcile that very soon. The reporter said, how is it that being a sannyasi, you speak about renunciation, but you're living in such a big room? You having these expensive cars. And Vibhishana Prabhu writes, I was thinking, what is Prabhupada going to respond? Because there was dead silence in the room. Everyone was all ears to hear what Prabhupada responded. And Prabhupada closed his eyes. And Prabhupada said, actually, I can even live under trees. And that is so true. In Mayapur, Jananivas Prabhu explains, when Mayapur was under construction, no toilets. There was just a hole on the ground. That's it. No running water, no electricity. So dictaphones didn't work. And Jananivas Prabhu explains, Prabhupada continued the same schedule. He went for the morning walks. And instead of dictating on the dictaphone, he would sit under a mosquito net and type on his typewriter. So Prabhupada closed his eyes and told the reporter, actually it is a fact, I can live even under trees. I can live without running water. I have lived without electricity. And it's so true, in the Kumbh Mela, Prabhupada would bathe in ice-cold water. The disciples from America and Europe, they were like, Prabhupada, do we really have to do this? And Prabhupada was so comfortable. Always in sync with the environment. So Prabhupada closed his eyes. Bhurijan Prabhu explains, back to Hong Kong from Mayapur. Bhurijan Prabhu explains, Prabhupada closed his eyes and he said, actually it is a fact. I can live under trees. I can live without running water. I can live without electricity. I can bathe in ice cold water. But if I do that, will all of you news reporters come to interview such a person? You will not. You will think he is a beggar. So I don't need it. But to spread the message of Krishna consciousness, to tell all of you my message, I need to live in a place where you will come and respect. Prabhupada said, this is not for me, this is for you. And this is so true. Prabhupada lived in Radha Damodar, where there were mice and spiders. Srila Prabhupada lived in Bhubaneswar, in the forest, where Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj was coming up with the temple, and there were scorpions and snakes and spiders all over the face when they would sleep. And Prabhupada would pump water and bathe sometimes from a hand pump, sometimes from a well. In New Vrindavan, once one disciple of Srila Prabhupada had a very nice, cozy saffron sweater, saffron color, orange colored sweater. His mother had given it to him. That person was a brahmachari. That devotee was a brahmachari. His mother had given him a very comfortable sweater, a jacket. And he thought, my mother gave it to me because she loves me, but I want to give it to Prabhupada because I love him. And he took that sweater to Srila Prabhupada, that brahmachari, and said, Prabhupada, my mother gave me this sweater, but I want to give you this sweater. And Prabhupada's eyes were full of tears, and Prabhupada said, how can I accept something that your mother has given you with so much love? Prabhupada said, no, you should have it. I don't need these sweaters. However Krishna keeps me, I am happy. And the devotee started to weep and said, Prabhupada, this is the only opportunity probably in my life that I get to talk to you. Please accept this gift. It will make my life successful. Prabhupada said, then I will accept it on one condition. We should exchange our sweaters. And Prabhupada's sweater, the disciple explains, was much more comfortable than the brahmachari's sweater. And Prabhupada started unbuttoning his sweater immediately. And he took it off and he said, are you okay for an exchange? And the brahmachari said, that's so wonderful because he's accepting my gift and I get Prabhupada's prasadi. A sweater that Prabhupada's worn. And immediately I switched and I accepted it. This is Srila Prabhupada. Whether living in New York or Los Angeles, as Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj writes, Prabhupada asked him, where do you think I am? And Tamal Krishna Maharaj said, Prabhupada, in Los Angeles? Prabhupada said, no, my body may be in Los Angeles. My heart is always in the courtyard of Radha Damodar. I am burning in separation from Vrindavan. So Akincana has two meanings. From Akincana Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj's standpoint, we see it means someone who didn't accept anything material. But as Grihasthas, we cannot do that. We have to accept material things. So we have to follow Prabhupada's route, where whatever comes our way, we don't get attached because we know it will be taken away any moment. But we want to use it in Krishna's service. Anasaktasya vishayan yathartham upayunjatah nirbandha Krishna sambandhe yukta vairagyam uchyate prapanchikataya bhaktya hari sambandhi vastunah mumukshubhi parityago vairagyam phalgu katyate. Srila Rupa Goswami Pad has said, Rupa Goswami Pad has said, Akincana means how much ever we have, I don't own any of that. Krishna, it belongs to you, I will give it back to you. As they say in Hindi, Tera tujhko saupu kya lagat hai more. My Lord, whatever comes my way is like the Ganga water. It comes from the Ganga, I'll offer it back to the Ganga. Namo Akincana Vittaya. Vitta means wealth. Kuntī Devi is saying Krishna is the wealth of those who are in this mood. Please repeat. Krishna is the property of those who possess nothing. We may possess so many things in this world, but if we don't think that they belong to me, they belong to Krishna, I will use it for him, then Krishna becomes the property of such personalities. Think about Sudama. Krishnasyasit sakha kaschit brahmano brahmavittama virakta indriyartheshu prashantatma jitendriya. When Shukdev Goswami introduces Sudama in the 80th chapter of the 10th canto, he doesn't say, I will introduce a person who considered Krishna to be his friend. He says, Krishnasya asit sakha kaschit. I will introduce a character, O Maharaj Parikshit, whom Krishna considered to be his friend. Now, many of us may want to meet the president or the prime minister, or in this place, the king. But how many work so wonderfully in the country that the king wants to meet them? Handful. So Sudama is not a person introduced by Shukdev Goswami as someone who considered Krishna to be his friend alone. Of course, he did that. But his main qualification was he's so qualified that Krishna considered him to be his best friend. Why? Akincana vittaya. Sudama fasted for 21 days without food. But when his wife Sushila told him, in utter destitute poverty, why don't you go and approach your friend, the king, Dwarkadish, and beg him for some gold coins? Some gold coins for him won't be a loss, but some gold coins for us will be great profit. But it didn't convince Sudama of the purpose. Sudama thought to himself, how could I go to Krishna and ask him for something material? Srila Prabhupada Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur explains, it's like going to the king and asking for dead man ashes. Imagine you go to the king and the king says, what can I give you? And the person says, please give me a handful of ash from the crematorium. The king would say, that's all you want from me? So when the wife Sushila told Sudama, Krishna's best friend, why don't you go and beg for some gold coins? It wasn't convincing enough. Then Sushila said, okay, wait a minute. Why don't you see this as an opportunity just to go and have darshan of Krishna? Sudama's eyes widened in joy. And he said, Ayam hi paramo labho uttama shloka darshanam. Getting gold coins would be labha, profit. But ayam hi paramo labha uttama shloka darshanam. Having darshan of Krishna is the greatest wealth. Let me go. And he walked all the way. So in this way, Sudama from Porbandar walked all the way to Dwarka. So many days. He didn't even know whether Krishna would remember him from his childhood. But Kuntī Devi says Krishna is the vitta, the wealth of those who possess nothing in this world. Please everyone repeat. Krishna, brooks, no competition. Which means in the heart we have something and Krishna will say, well, you keep that, whatever you have. I will come when it's empty. You clear off the other things in your heart and then make space for me, then I will come. But our thing is, I have little space for my family, my culture, my society, my superstars, my role models, my career, my money, my desires. And Krishna, you also make a little space and you also sit. Krishna, no. Krishna brooks no competition. Because when he comes, he starts to clean the heart. He starts throwing everything out. Dhunoti sarvam riddhi sannivishtaha. Sudama comes in at the doorstep and the servants go and tell Krishna, some kuchaila has come, some beggar has come with torn clothes. His life is stuck on a stick. The veins are popping in his body. He hasn't eaten or drunk anything. Seems a very old person. And he's saying, Krishna is my childhood friend. And he calls himself Sudama. As soon as Krishna heard this, Kuchailam malinam kshamam dvija dhamani santatam devi paryacharat saksha chamara vyajanenavai. Krishna runs. His angavastra falls to the ground. His crown is to the side. He doesn't even wear padukas. Krishna's running to the door. He holds Sudama by the hand, embraces him so tightly. Sudama is embracing Krishna tightly. Krishna is embracing Sudama tightly. They are bathing each other with their tears. And Krishna is scared. If I embrace Sudama tightly, he may die because he's impoverished. malnutritioned. And Sudama is thinking, if I embrace Krishna very tightly, the imprint of my bones will come on Krishna's soft body. Both let go of the embrace. Krishna holds Sudama by the hand and he said, why did you wait so long? Sudama was just so happy. You remember me? Of course. Remember? Well, you remember someone whom you have forgotten. I never forgot you, Sudama. I remember all those good days. Come, let's talk about it. He held Sudama by the hand, walks through the royal court. And the ministers are all amazed. They stand up to think, who is this beggar that the king is showering mercy on today? Krishna makes Sudama sit on his own throne. Tells Rukmini and other queens, Chamara Vyajanainavai. Devi Paryacharat Sakshat, that Devi, Lakshmi, Rukmini who fans the Lord, Chamara Vyajanenavai, now is fanning Sudama. Krishna arranges for water pots, golden pots with sacred water for the bathing of Sudama. Krishna sits down, bends down, and pulls out the thorns of Sudama's lotus feet with his hand and with his teeth. And Krishna's bathing Sudama's lotus feet with his tears. He holds Sudama's lotus feet to his chest. Anuvrajamyaham nityam puya yityangri renubihi. The dust of the lotus feet of my devotees is my treasure, Krishna said. Feeds Sudama with his own hands, offers him arati, lets Sudama rest on his own bed. And Krishna starts to speak to Sudama about their childhood days. Sudama, do you remember that night when we were stuck in the middle of the forest and our teeth were chattering? Do you remember it was raining and we came to the forest to find some firewood and we were drenched? Do you remember those days, Sudama? And Sudama said, yes, I remember that day when Sandipani Muni had asked us to memorize a shloka. And he asked me if I remembered the shloka. I got up and I said, oh, I forgot my homework. And then Sandipani Muni asked you, Krishna, whether you remembered the shloka, and you also stood up and said, oh, I forgot the shloka. Vedaham samatitani. In the Gita, Krishna says, I know everything past, present and future. Abhijñah swarat. But for his devotee, who's going to get punished into the forest to get some firewood, to be with him, Krishna said, oh, I also forgot the verse. As they spoke, Sudama stayed with Krishna for so many days. And he completely forgot to tell Krishna what his wife wanted him to ask Krishna. That is some wealth. Sudama starts to walk back. Krishna at that time walks with him. Some ministers of Krishna, they say, why don't we take him on the chariot? Krishna said, if we take him on the chariot, I won't get the dust of his lotus feet in my kingdom. I want him to walk and I will walk with him. And as Sudama walks, he walks so many days, just remembering with so much love the wonderful interactions he had with Krishna. Suridam Sarva Bhutanam, the best friend. When his friend Arjuna gets confused on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Krishna is ready to chastise him and teach him Bhagavad Gita. Klaibhyam mam smagama partha. Karpanya dosho ityadi. And when his friend wants his time to speak to him, Krishna is ready to offer everything. He's the vitta, he's the wealth of those who possess nothing. If the devotee becomes like a Chataka Pakshi, Chataka Pakshi is that bird which doesn't even drink the Ganga water of this world, only looks up for the rain water in the Swati Nakshatra. The Chataka Pakshi will die with its beak up even if it falls into the Ganga, but will only live by drinking the rainwater. Those devotees who are like that I will not use anything in this world for me. As Sudama was walking past all the different villages and cities, he finally came to his hometown and saw this big, humongous gold palace. And he thought, wait a minute, maybe I came back to Dwarka. Maybe this is Krishna's palace. How could he think like that? He was thinking, maybe I was walking towards my house and I'm so thin and lean, maybe the breeze, the wind blew so hard that maybe I flipped over and started walking back to Dwarka. Maybe this is Krishna's palace. And he reached and he saw his children play outside. Sushila, his wife, comes out with this most expensive, priceless jewels and necklace. And she comes and tells her husband, "Thank you so much for what you did for us. Thank you for going and telling Krishna about our circumstance. See, he did it. Thank you." And that's when it dawns to Sudama, wait a minute. I spoke everything to Krishna except this. I totally forgot. He thought to himself, I just had burnt chipped rice or poha that I gave Krishna. And in reciprocation, he gave me the fulfillment of my inner desires and much more, his association. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes at this point, everything changed except Sudama's dress. Chakravarti Pad is so amazing. He said everything changed. The servants in the house came in, there were ministers, there was wealth, opulent food, aristocratic living, luxurious opulent lifestyle. Children had good clothes, wife had good clothes and ornaments. Everything was perfect except Sudama's dressing. He was still in rugged, ill-clad clothes. Chakravarti Pad writes, why? Because it was that poverty of Sudama which got him to Krishna. Krishna wanted to value that presence of poverty in Sudama, which actually got Sudama to him. He said, may that be the most intimate gift that we share, those clothes. Because it's those clothes which actually got you to me. And Sudama continued to live outside the palace. Family were happy, but he continued to remember Krishna. Think about Shuklambar Brahmachari. Think about Kola Bechara Sridhar. Kola Bechara Sridhar in Gaura Leela was only a banana leaf seller. He was a banana fruit seller. And Nimai Pandit Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as a young child in Navadvip would go and argue 3 hours every day. That was his sadhana. Go and argue on the price. He would go to Kola Bechara Sridhar. Kola Bechara means the banana seller. Almost like Kela Becha. Kola Bechara, Bengali. Kola Bechara Sridhar. He was selling in the most minimal price. Everyone else had higher prices in society, but he had the most simple price. And Nimai would go to him and say, I want some banana leaves, I want some banana fruit, I want some this, I want some that. And then he would pack everything and Nimai would say, how much is it? And Kola Bechara Sridhar would say the bare minimum cost and Nimai Pandit would say, that's so expensive. And typically like how we bargain, he would say, if I go to that person, he's selling at half the price. He said, no, my lord, I'm trying my best. This is the most minimal. And in this also 50% I give for Ganga Puja. I keep only 50%. And Nimai would say, what is the use of your worshipping of Ganga? No use, because you are not even recognizing the master of Ganga. Kola Bechara Sridhar said, who is the master of Ganga? Nimai would say, Ganga is held on the head by Lord Shiva, and that Lord Shiva worships my lotus feet. And you are giving 50% to Ganga, and Ganga's master is Shiva, Shiva's master is me, and you're arguing with me on the price. Kola Bechara Sridhar said, my lord, this is the bare minimum I can give. What price do you want me to give it on? Nimai would say, he would come to 1/10 the price and say, now this is the price I want you to give in. Kola Bechara Sridhar would say, you just take it for free. Nimai would say, no, I want you to take something. It can't be that easy. And he would argue with him and finally take it. Every day, that was his sadhana. And when Nimai would walk, Kola Bechara Sridhar would be so happy, but at the same time he would think, now he will argue with me on the price. During the Mahaprakash Leela in Srivas Thakur's house, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told the devotees, please go and call Sridhar. And the devotees didn't even know who Sridhar was. Who is Sridhar? We've never heard of him. Mahaprabhu said, there is a poverty-stricken devotee who lives in utter destitute condition. He is so advanced. And Mahaprabhu started glorifying his qualities. He said, all night long he chants, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, And his neighbors think he's hungry. Therefore, he's crying out of hunger. So they throw in some chapatis through the window. They would throw some fruits. Eat this fruit and be happy. Don't cry all night. Sridhar would accept that, offer it to Krishna, but continued to sing and chant. The devotees went to find Sridhar and they told him, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is remembering you in the house of Srivas. Please come. And Kola Bechara Sridhar fell unconscious. Just remembering the fact that the Lord remembered me. Well, he has so many aristocratic, rich, opulent people to talk to, but he's just coming to someone as humble and meek like me. And the devotees took him to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Kola Bechara Sridhar, you ask for a benediction and I will give you. I am in the mood of giving today. You tell me, do you want to become Indra? Kola Bechara Sridhar said, no, my lord, that will just be disturbance. You can see in the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam what happens in the heavenly kingdom. He said, that will just be disturbance. Mahaprabhu said, I can make you Brahma. I can give you the 8 Ashtasiddhi and Navanidhi. I can give you the 8 aspects of mystic potency. You can become smaller than the smallest, larger than the largest, heavier than the heaviest, lighter than the lightest. You can have all your desires fulfilled. Ask for it, Sridhar, and I will give it to you. Today's the day. Today's payday. Ask for it. And I will write the check. Tell me what you want. Sridhar was negating everything. Mahaprabhu said, you have to take something from me today. Kola Bechara Sridhar said, my lord, if you really want to give me something, I, Sridhar Kola Bechara, beg, lifetime after lifetime, may I become a banana leaf seller. And lifetime after lifetime, may you as Nimai Pandit come and argue with me and bargain with me on the price of my things. This is the only benediction I want. You are Akincana Vittaya. You are the wealth of those who possess nothing. Kuntī Devi is remembering those days when they went through utter poverty in the forest. My Lord, Tvam Akincana Gocharam, Nama Akincana Vittaya. You are our wealth. You don't need it because you are Atmarama and Shantaya. What does the word Atmaram mean? In Sanskrit, the word Atmaram can mean so many things. Actually, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave 61 explanations to the Atmarama. Atmaramaschamunayo nirgranta api urukrame. Kurvanti ahaitukim bhaktim ittam bhuta gunohari. Mahaprabhu gave 61 explanations to the Atmarama word. But in the context of Krishna, dear devotees, the word Atma here refers to Radharani. Radha Krishna ek Atma dui deha dhari, anyonya bilase rase asvadana kari. We mentioned how Srimad Bhagavatam has the names of Radharani hidden. Here the word Atma refers to Radharani. And Rama means Ramante Yogino Nante Satyananda Chidatmani Iti Rama Pade Nasau Parabrahma Vidhiyate. He who relishes the association, the pastimes with Atma, Radharani, is Atmarama. So Kuntī Devi is saying, you don't need us. You have Radharani, but we need you. Atmaramaya. And Shantaya. How peaceful is the Lord? Shantaya. The Lord is very, very peaceful. You see, some deities are very scary. There's blood dripping from the tongue. Like Narasimhadev, for example. Very scary. Of course, for Ugra api anugra evayam swapotanam nrakeshari. That is only for the demons, not for the devotees. But some deities you can see. Mahishasura Mardini, for example. She has a trishul in her hand and tongue sticking out, eyes are popping, fire shooting from her eyes. Very intense form. But how is Mahavishnu in Vaikuntha? Shantakaram bhujaka shayanam. And such a contradictory term. Shantakaram bhujaka shayanam. Bhujaka shayanam means to sleep on the snake. The other day we were saying how we get scared even by rats and cockroaches and insects and mosquitoes. Mahavishnu sleeps on the bed of snakes and he is Shantakaram. Teaching us, those who want to go to Vaikuntha, even when they are sleeping on the bed of problems, they must remember the Supreme Lord and be peaceful. Only such personalities can inherit the kingdom of God. Shantakaram. His form is also very pleasing, his heart is also very pleasing. Eyes are lotus petal-like. Sweet smile, face is like the full moon, nose is like the sesame flower. Locks of soft black curly hair, therefore he is called Keshava. Cascaded up to his shoulder. Lotus flower in his hand. Effulgent complexion. His body looks like a basket of blue lotus flowers. His feet and his palms are pink lotus flowers. His teeth seem to be like buds of white jasmine flowers. How beautiful. Vamshi vibhushita kara navaniradavat pitambarat aruna bimba phaladharoshtat purnendu sundara mukhat aravinda netrat Krishnat param kimapi tattvamaham na jane. His lips are like the bimba fruit. His eyes are like flower petals. His teeth are like pearls. His Kaustuva money on the chest puts millions of suns to shame. S-U-N, sun, the effulgence of the sun, Koti Surya Samaprabha, put to shame just by the Kaustuva money. Vakshasthale Kaustubam. So he's Shantakaram, Shantaya. And his heart is also very peaceful. Bhrigamuni goes and kicks the chest. And Mahavishnu wakes up and massages the lotus feet and says, my heart is very hard. Your feet, being a Brahmana, you're very soft. Let me massage. Shantaya. Therefore, Gajendra also says, Namaha Shantaya Ghoraya Mudhaya Gunadharmine. Krishna is very, very peaceful. Actually, that is one problem Duryodhan had with Krishna in the battle of Kurukshetra. Krishna was always smiling. Imagine if somebody is angry and yelling at you and you smile at them. Somebody is saying, how could you do this? Don't you understand? Why are you smiling? It is described in Bhagavatam. Tathaiva chanye naraloka veera ya ahave Krishna mukharavindam netre pibantyo nayanabhirama parthastra padamapurasya. Krishna is to smile so sweetly that it is described Bhishma Dev preferred to be on the Kaurava camp. Because if he was on the Pandava camp, he would see the back of Krishna. He wanted to be on the Kaurava camp to drink the beauty of the lotus of Krishna's face. Kuntī Devi says, my Lord, you are very peaceful, you are Atmarama, you don't need us. But we need you because you are Kaivalya Pataye Namaha. Kaivalya comes from the root word Kevala. Kevala means those who only look to Krishna and nowhere else. Ananyaschintayanto ma. Those who only look to Krishna, Kevala Bhakti, they are called Kaivalya. Krishna is the master of those who are one-pointed. Kaivalya Pataye Namaha. One more point I would like to say. Throughout you can see the Chaturthi Vibhakti in Sanskrit is used. Like Shantaya, Krishnaya, Govindaya, Vasudevaya, Nandagopa Kumaraya. Like we say Ganeshaya Namaha, Namah Shivaya. That's all Chaturthi Vibhakti. And in Sanskrit, Danarthe Chaturthi. Whenever you want to express Sharanagati, Chaturthi is used. But when you want to express complete surrender and helplessness, Sambodhan is used, Harinam is used. Like for example, if you hear Yatha Rishikesha, this Rishikesha is not Rishikeshaya. It is Rishikesha, it is the Sambodhan, it is the call. That is helpless call. So Harinam is helpless calling. And Chaturthi Vibhakti that is found in the mantras, that is Sharanagati. And higher than Sharanagati is helpless calling. Therefore, Sarva Mantra Sarnam Ei Shastra Marma. When there is Chaturthi Vibhakti used, it shows offering obeisances. But when Sambodhan is used, Hare Abhirakshita or Bhagavan, Naveda Kaschit Bhagavan. Krishna is called out by so many names throughout. That is called Sambodhan. That is helpless calling. Kuntī calls out to the names. Kaivalya Pataye Namaha. My Lord, O Krishna, please don't go to Dwaraka. We need you here. And then she continues glorifying the Supreme Lord. Manye tvam kalam ishanam. What does the word kala mean? Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan explains. Kala yati iti kala. Kala means time, but kala also means death. But in Sanskrit, every syllable or every word can have multifarious, river-like, stream-like meanings. So Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan, in his Namartha Sudha commentary, he explains, the word kala means kala yati iti kala, which means he who can destroy and crush demons to protect the devotees. He is kala. So Kuntī Devi, when she says, Manye tvam kala ishanam, she is remembering how Krishna crushed all the armies. Without fighting, he was ready to crush everyone on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. The word kala and Ishana go together. Ishastvam sarvabhutanam ishvarosi sadasmrtaha. Lord Shiva has said this. Ishastvam sarvabhutanam ishvarosi sadasmrtaha. That although Lord Shiva is saying, although people call me Ishvara, O Krishna, actual Ishvara is you. Why this Kala and Ishana go together? Think of the very great pastime of Poundrak Vasudev. Poundrak Vasudev was the imitator Vasudev. He was the imitator Krishna. He actually wrote a letter to Krishna. I am the actual Vasudev, you are the fake Vasudev. He actually even stuck 2 fake hands and stuck weapons. He had all the weapons except the chakra. So he wrote in that letter, I am the actual 4-handed Vasudev. The Sudarshan chakra belongs to me. Give it to me. Krishna got the letter and he read it out and everybody in Dwaraka laughed. And Krishna said, Poundrak, you are the true Vasudev. You want the chakra. Take it. And Krishna sent the Sudarshan chakra. You want the chakra, you take the chakra. He couldn't hold the chakra. So Poundrak Vasudev was killed. Krishna performed a laser surgery. Bloodless. The head of Poundrak Vasudev fell. Now he had befriended the king of Kashi, Kashiraj. And Kashiraj was a great devotee of Lord Shiva. Now Lord Shiva, he is Bhaktavatsal, he is Ashutosh. Anybody who worships his lotus feet, he feels so indebted and full of gratitude that he gives benediction. Think of the story of Bhasmasur. Came to Lord Shiva and said, just give me the benediction. I can touch somebody's head and crack that skull to pieces. Lord Shiva said, Tathastu. And now this Bhasmasur runs behind Lord Shiva. So Lord Shiva is like a child, very, very innocent. So Kashiraj, the best friend of Poundrak Vasudev, he prays to Lord Shiva because Lord Shiva is the king of Kashi. Varanasi Purapatim Bhaja Vishwanatham. He told Lord Shiva, Poundrak is gone. I am going to fight this war against Krishna. Lord Shiva, I want your help. Lord Shiva said, yes, for my devotee I can do anything. You wage the war, I am with you. Kashiraj fights Krishna. Krishna's Sudarshan chakra cuts and slits the head of Kashiraj and the head comes flying into Kashi. And everyone in Kashi is so happy thinking it's Krishna's head. And when the head falls, they realize, oh, this is the head of our king. So Kashiraj's son, Sudakshina, he invokes a tantric ghost called Dakshagni and says, I want you to go and kill Krishna. Now in tantric performances, if you succeed, you succeed. If you don't succeed, the thing comes back to the person who invokes it. So Dakshagni goes towards Dwaraka, sees the Sudarshan chakra, comes back and kills the son of Kashiraj. The chakra kills both Kashiraj's son and this tantric also. And now the chakra starts chasing Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva tries to fight as much as possible. Then finally he comes to Krishna and says, my Lord, I don't know how I landed up on this side of the camp. Please forgive me. And Krishna smiled and he said, what have you done? Vaishnavanam yatha Shambhu, and you are on the other side. Lord Shiva said, what to do, my Lord? Bhaktebhyo bhaktavatsala. I was invoked by the devotee and I just took sides. But my Lord, as prayashchitta, I always want to be the doorkeeper of all your dhams. So when you live as Jagannath, let me live in Bhuvaneshwar as Bhuvaneshwar Mahadev. When you live in Nandagram, let me live as Nandishwar Mahadev. When you live in Vrindavan as Krishna, let me live as Gopeshwar Mahadev. When you live in Radhakund, let me live as Kundeshwar Mahadev. When you live in Kamyavan, let me live as Kameshwar Mahadev. In short, my Lord, wherever you are, let me live with you. So Lord Shiva, he fulfilled his inner desire of devotion, and Krishna here was announced and proclaimed as Ishvara by Lord Shiva by saying, Ishastvam sarva bhutanam Ishvarosi sadasmrtaha. Although they call me Ishvara, I give that title to you, my Lord, Ishanam. So for Poundrak, Krishna was Kala, and for Lord Shiva, he was Ishana. So Kunti Devi is saying, Manye tvam kalam Ishanam. For the losing camp, you are Kala. For the winning camp, you are Ishana. Samam charantam sarvatra. Now people say, does Krishna take sides? Does he have favoritism? Does he take sides? To which Kunti Devi says, Samam charantam. You don't take sides. You are equal to everyone. Like for example, when the rain showers, the rain is equal to everyone. Now if you are a mango seed, you will bear a mango fruit. And if you are a neem seed, you will bear a neem tree. It's not that the rain is biased, that it's causing mango fruits on one tree and neem leaves on the other. The rain is equal to everyone. Kunti Devi is saying, Samam charantam sarvatra. You are like the rain. If the demons have neem-like bitter seeds, then they grow neem trees of distress and failure in life. And if your devotees have mango seeds of devotion, then they develop mango fruits of happiness. Krishna, you are equal to everyone. Just like the judge in the royal court, if he gives a death sentence to someone and he frees someone, you can't say that the judge is biased. He's partial. He's impartial. Depending on who has done what, they bear their own fruits. As you sow, so shall you reap. So Krishna is not samam charantam. He is equal to everyone. Actually, Lakshmi Devi herself says this. When Lakshmi Devi's marriage was being announced, she was asked, whom do you want to get married to? Do you want to get married to Durvasa? And Lakshmi Devi said, he's very austere, but he's very angry, always keeps cursing, I can't marry him. Then how about Shukracharya, asked the sages. Lakshmi said, no, he has very good powers, but he always takes sides with the demons. I don't want Shukracharya. So Lakshmi Devi was asked, Durvasa, no. Shukracharya, no. How about Indra? Do you want to marry Indra? She said, no. He's very exalted, but then time and again he likes to see the Apsaras dance. So no. No Indra. Then whom do you want to marry? Do you want to marry Lord Shiva? Lakshmi Devi said, he's a very great Vaishnava and a great soul, but he's too detached. I am Lakshmi. I come from a very aristocratic background. He lives in the crematorium with ashes on his body and he's just happy. It's too austere for me. Then whom do you want to marry? Lakshmi said, my heart has been stolen by Krishna, by Narayana. He is faultless. Then Lakshmi said, but he also has a fault. And the fault is, I love him, but he's equal to everyone. Samam charantam sarvatra. He doesn't love me. He loves everybody. Like when Krishna goes to release the 16,000 princesses from the palace of Bhaumasur. Krishna released all those captive women, 16,000 of them, and said, now you please go home. I have killed Bhaumasur. Now you're no longer prisoners. You go home. They said in Vedic culture, if you have been living out in the house of another man, you can't be accepted in home and nobody will marry you now. So these 16,000 princesses, they told Krishna, we will not get married because nobody will accept us, because we've been living in the palace of Bhaumasur. Krishna says, so how can we help and solve this situation? The princesses said, since you have rescued us, is it possible if you can marry us? And to save them from social blemish, Krishna accepted their hand. People nowadays, they say, why did Krishna have 16,000 queens? Do we even know the history? Do we even know why he had 16,000? It's not that he went around street to street picking on girls. That's not what Krishna did. Nowadays, politicians make these loose statements. They will see any Romeo and Juliet on the street and they will say, oh, that is like Krishna and the gopis. How dare you say that? How dare you put Krishna's name down in society like that? Do you even know who he is? One time one man came to Srila Prabhupada and he asked questions. Prabhupada, I want to know about Krishna and the gopis. And Prabhupada quickly, like a jet plane, he looked at him and said, how dare you? How qualified are you to speak about Krishna and the gopis? Prabhupada said, have you even read the Bhagavad Gita? Tell me what is the purport of the Bhagavad Gita. And this man was dumbfounded. Nobody had ever spoken to him like that. Prabhupada is like a surgeon. He can do open heart surgery without anesthesia. Forget about general, even no local anesthesia. That is sadhu. Sadhu means he who cuts for the benefit. Prabhupada said, how dare you ask about Krishna and the gopis? What is your qualification? Krishna's equal. He married all those 16,000 queens. Lakshmi Devi says, that is the fault of the Lord. This is called Vyajastuti, where it happens to be, it seems like criticism, but it's actually glorification. Lakshmi tells, he's faultless. But the only fault is, I love him, but he loves everybody, including me. Kuntī Devi says like that, Samam charanta sarvatra. You are like the rain cloud. We are like the Chataka Pakshi. The rain cloud may shower mercy and rain on all the Chataka Pakshis. The rain cloud may have so many birds to feed, but the bird has only one rain cloud. You may have your Dwarka Vasis to go to, but we have only one Krishna. Please don't go. Samam charanta sarvatra. In the next verse number 29, Na veda kaschid bhagavat chikirshatam taveha manasya nranam vidambanam. Same point again. Na yasya kaschid daitosti karhichid dveshascha yasmin vishamamatir nranam. You don't have daita, someone very dear to you, and na dvesha. Samoham sarvabhuteshu name dveshyosti na priya. How glorious is Krishna? My Guru Maharaj gives the example of electricity. My Guru Maharaj says, whether a child touches electricity, an old man touches open wire, a woman touches, an animal touches, anybody touches, whether they knowingly touch, they unknowingly touch, the electric live wire electrocutes. When the wire is equal to everyone who touches, what to speak of God? Daitosti karichit dveshascha yasmin vishamamatindranaam. Kuntī Devi says, Krishna, you are so loving. Ripu sutanam api tulya drishti. When someone in the demoniac family becomes a devotee, like Prahlad. Now Prahlad is in the family of Hiranyakashipu. When Prahlad becomes a devotee, Krishna breaks the stamba, the pillar, and comes to protect. So when someone becomes a devotee, even in the demoniac family, Krishna comes for him. And on the other hand, when his own son, Bhauma, becomes an asura, Krishna kills him. Ripu Suta. Ripu means enemy. Suta means son. Nagapatni say, Ripu Sutanam api tulya drishti. Krishna, you have equal vision towards your enemy and towards your son. When your son breaks the principle, you're ready to kill him. And when the enemy bears a son as Prahlad, you're ready to protect him. Think about Putana. Putana comes to Krishna with a desire to murder him. And when she's attempting to breastfeed Krishna, she has poison. She wants to murder Krishna. She's trying her best. And what level of acting? Oh. She should have been given an Oscar. What exalted level of acting. Even Yashoda Rani and Rohini Devi were convinced maybe we are the fake ones. She's the actual mother. She came close to Krishna. How sweet is the child? But when she actually picked up Krishna and she wanted to offer Krishna only poison, but Krishna went many layers ahead. He accepted the poison, the milk, and now started sucking the life air. And at that point, Putana said, Sa muncha munchalam iti prabhashini nishpidya mana khila jiva marmani. Stop it! Krishna, stop! Only if I knew you were God, I would have never come to you. I thought you were a child. Only if I knew you were God. Please leave me, please leave me. And Krishna starts telling Putana, that's the only thing I don't know to do. Those who come to me, yena kena prakarena, with any intention possible, the only thing I don't know to do is leave them. Whoever it may be, I can't leave them. You are coming to Vrindavan. In the history of Brajmandal Parikrama, Putana is the only person who came in a flight from Mathura to Vrindavan. So people used to walk from Mathura to Vrindavan, take taxis, cycle rickshaws, maybe electric rickshaws, motor rickshaws. But Putana, sa khechari, she came flying. She came dressed like a gopi. She acted like a mother. She came searching for Krishna. Imagine coming to Vrindavan with the eagerness to find Krishna is so noble. In this world, dear devotees, when someone comes and gives us nectar in the form of advice, what do? We shout at them. How dare you teach me? Who are you to tell me? What do you think you are? Even if we don't say it, we may feel it. The face speaks. Someone comes and says, Prabhu, I think, it's okay if I can give you an advice. Sure. Go ahead. So, Prabhu, I think 3 advices, point 1, point 2. Thank you. Very, very useful. Thank you. And in the mind we are thinking, did I ask you, why are you telling me? Even if the feedback is very good. So in this world, when someone gives us nectar, we reciprocate with poison. And in Krishna's abode, when someone comes with poison, Krishna makes the murderer his mother. He reciprocates with poison as nectar. This is Krishna. Ripu Sutanam apyatulya drishti. He made Putana lebhe ghatim dhatri muchitam tatonyam kamva dayalum sharanam vrajema. He made Putana his eternal nurse in Goloka Vrindavan. How great! And when Putana's body was set on fire, it was so fragrant with the fragrance of aghuru and camphor. Just because Krishna touched her, her fragrance changed. Aghasur, Krishna entered Aghasur's mouth. And he, for all times to come, his body became a playground for Krishna's friends in Vrindavan. How glorious. Please everyone repeat. Hatari Gatidayaka. It is described, Hatari Gatidayaka. Hata means to kill. Ari means enemy. Gatidayaka. Krishna can even kill his opponent and give them Vaikuntha. By killing, if Krishna can do good to that person, imagine how much he will do in the embrace. Bahubhyam parirambitaha. Kwaham daridra papiyan, kwa Krishna Shri Niketanaha. Brahma bandhu iti smaham bahubhyam parirambitaha. Krishna's embrace is so cooling. And he is ready to give that to anyone who approaches him. Dear devotees, imagine if Ajamil can by mistake chant the holy name, not by practice, at the time of death alone, not with purity, but breaking all 4 regulative principles, not calling out to Krishna, but to his son, and still Krishna can relieve him. Where is the doubt? that if someone follows regulative principles and daily chants and not calls to the sun but calls out to the Supreme Lord, where is the doubt whether or not this person will get Goloka Vrindavan or no? There is no doubt. So Kunti Devi is talking about Krishna's qualities. And she says, Na veda kaschit bhagavan chikirshitam taveha manasya nranam vidambanam na yasya kaschit daitosti karihichit dveshascha yasmin vishamam atindranam. My Lord, you're equal to everyone. Think about the sun, Surya Dev. Does the sun evaporate pure water? Does the sun evaporate pure water? If you keep pure water, will the sun evaporate? Of course, the sun evaporates everything. And will the sun evaporate dirty water? And the sun evaporates both of them equally. And he evaporates the dirty water to such an extent, nobody knows where the water went. And there is no stink in that place. And not that this dirty water gets stuck on the face of Surya Dev. That's also not the case. So 3 things. He is equal to good water and dirty water. Second, where that dirty water goes, nobody knows. Third, there is no stink even. And fourth, the sun is not becoming dirty. Krishna has these 4 characteristics. He is equal to good and bad. At the same time, when he cleans up the bad, there is nobody knows where that dirty qualities went. At the same time, there is no stink in that person. And Krishna doesn't become dirty by this. In this world, you see when dal spills on the floor, you take a cloth and you clean. The floor becomes clean, but the cloth becomes dirty. But the sun is not like that. The pot of muddy, dirty water becomes clean and the sun remains clean. So if the sun can be like this, what to speak of Krishna, who is the source of everything? This is what Kunti Devi is saying. Krishna, you're equal. With all these beautiful examples, we can understand. Now going ahead, she remembers. Next verse, you can see the next verse, 30th. 30th and 31 actually. She speaks very wonderfully. Kunti Devi says, Janma karma cha vishwatman. That's the verse up there. Kunti Devi says, Janma karma cha vishwatman ajasya karturatmanaha tiryang nrishishu yadassu tat atyanta vidambanam. And in the next one, she is actually speaking the exact context. 31. Gopya dade tvai kritaskasi damatavat. She talks about Damodara Leela. What is the common theme in these 2 verses, dear devotees? It's very, very beautiful. In 30, Kunti Devi says, Janma karma cha vishwatman ajasya akarturatmanaha. The word aja has been used. What does the word aja mean? Unborn. Aja. Ja means janma. Na jayate iti aja. He who is not born is aja. Correct? Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan writes something fabulous here. Nandakumar Prabhu from Valmiki Ramayana. You'll have ecstasy again. Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan invokes Vibhishana Sharanagati at this point. It's really unbelievable. Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan says, Kunti Devi remembers Vibhishana's Sharanagati at this point. Who would have imagined Kunti Devi speaking to Krishna in Dwapar Leela, remembering Vibhishana's Sharanagati or surrender to Sri Ram in Treta? What is the connection? Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan writes, the word aja also means he who rejects. He who rejects. So what is that? How is that connected to Vibhishana? Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan writes, when Vibhishana came and he wanted to take shelter of Sri Ramachandra's lotus feet, some mentioned this is all fake drama. If there is a neem tree, you cannot have a mango fruit on it. If on one hand you have Ravana, you have Kumbhakarna, you have Surpanaka, you have all of these people, on a neem tree you cannot have a mango fruit. So some associate said, my Lord Sri Ram, just ignore this Vibhishana, this is all drama going on. Another camp said, why ignore? Kill him, he is the enemy. When we can kill his brothers, why not him? Another camp said, no, wait a minute. Even higher than that, we will keep him alive, but we will use him as a spy for us. We will send him back and get more information. And they will think he's on their side, but we know he's on our side. Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan said, Sri Ramachandra heard all of this, and he being Aja means he who rejects, he rejected all this proposal. To accept a sincere devotee as Vibhishana, Sri Ramachandra rejected all proposals which proposed that he should be rejected. The proposals to reject Vibhishana were rejected by the Lord, and Aja means he who rejects. Baladev Vidyabhushan says, Mitra bhavena sampraptam nyatyajeyam kathanchana dosho yadyapi tasmin syat satam etad vigarhitam sakrid eva prapanno yas tavasmi iti sayachate abhayam sarvada tasmai dadami etad vratam mama. Sri Ramachandra is saying, Mitra bhavena sampraptam. Vibhishana has come as a friend. Mitra bhavena sampraptam. We have attained him as a friend. And na tyajayam kathanchana. Irrespective of wherever somebody comes from, whichever background, if they want to become our friend sincerely, na tyajayam kathanchana. Dharma says we should never reject that person. But if you say he is faulty, Sri Ramachandra says, dosha yadyapi tasmin syat. Even if he is faulty, satam etad vigarhitam. The saints should only see saintly qualities in that person and see the fact that he has come as a friend, he has come as a Vaishnava, giving up his past, giving up his association, giving up his upbringing, see him for the present, and sakrad eva prapannoyas. If he bows his head once and says, Tavasmi iti sayachate, my Lord, I am yours, Sri Ramachandra pronounced, Abhayam sarvada tasmai dadami etad vratam mama. I raise my hands and loudly proclaim, if anyone like Vibhishana comes to me and bows their head just once and says, Oh Sri Ram, I am yours, Tavasmi. Sri Ramachandra said, if someone says that once, then Abhayam sarvada tasmai. They may have said it once, but I promise it for all times to come. I will accept that person. Dadami etad vratam mama. I will never reject that person. And this is the promise I write in stone. Kuntī Devi remembers that promise and invokes that by saying, Ajasya akarturatmanaha. Didn't you in your previous incarnation as Ram say that if someone bows down to you once, you will never let them go, you will never leave them? We have been bowing with our head, kayena vacha manasendriyairva for so many years. How can you go back on your promise and leave us? If you can accept Vibhishana coming from a demoniac clan who just bowed down once, we are your devotees and we have been with you for so many years. Oh Krishna, how can you leave us and go to Dwaraka? Ajasya. Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan writes. When I read this, I said, this is unbelievable. Only acharyas of this caliber can open up Srimad Bhagavatam for us. Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport to the first verse of the first chapter of the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. This is in the Bhaktivedanta purport. Srila Prabhupada writes, serious students of Srimad Bhagavatam should refer to the commentaries of the acharyas, and he gives the names like Srila Sanatan Goswami, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti, Sripad Vallabhacharya, to enhance their understanding on Srimad Bhagavatam. Pradyumna Prabhu writes, wherever Srila Prabhupada went, he carried the 11 Sanskrit commentaries to Srimad Bhagavatam, and he would read all of them and dictate onto his dictaphone his Bhaktivedanta purports. So in that purport, Prabhupada said we should refer to the acharyas. So I referred to Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan, and this is in line with Prabhupada's instruction. Ajasya karturatmanaha. Kuntī Devi says, in every incarnation that you come, you have been Bhaktavatsal. You love your devotees so much. Your devotees have conquered you and you have conquered them. And when Kunti Devi remembers this, her heart floods with glories of Mother Yashoda. And therefore, in the next verse, you can see, she starts off by saying Gopya Dade. She is not saying Yashoda. If you see, this is the longest verse in Kunti Stuti. Please understand, dear devotees, the verses are not picked randomly. There is a certain order in which they are placed. There is a certain science behind the chanda that is used. Like verses which are general, they are in Anushtup chanda. When there is little more higher emotion, you will see da ra 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 ra, that kind of Indra Vajra, Upendra Vajra type of chanda. But when the verses get beyond the boundary of ecstasy, you will see the number of syllables used to describe that increases. And this is the longest you will find. Kunti Devi, while offering her prayer, she keeps it in the lower chandas. But when she remembers Mother Yashoda's love, she breaks into that chanda in which Brahma Samhita is chanted. So let us chant. Please, everyone. In one voice, let's chant. Gopya dade tvai kritaga sidama tavad yate dasha shruka lilanjana vanayasti tasya samam vimohayati bhirapi yad vibheti. No other verse except for the last verse where she concludes. Only these two verses. Kunti Devi is not even able to say Yashoda. She says Gopya Dade, Gopi. Kunti Devi was in Vrindavan on the day of Diwali when Damodara Leela took place. So she saw Mother Yashoda running behind Krishna with her own eyes. And when she's thinking of how loving Krishna is to the devotees, she remembers how loving Krishna is to the mothers. She remembers how loving Krishna has been to Devaki, how loving Krishna has been to Yashoda, and now how loving Krishna should be to Kunti. How glorious is Mother Yashoda? This is the only pastime, dear devotees. We sing Ashtakam for 30 days every year. This is the only pastime where we worship that deity, worship that picture. In fact, during Damodar month, Damodardesh. How much can be said about Damodara Leela? My tongue is like a sparrow. Damodara Leela is like the sky. How much can I flap my tongue? The wings of my tongue as a sparrow. But one thing can be said. What is so special about it? I always had this doubt. What is so special about Damodara Leela? Yes, Mother Yashoda tied him with ropes and Krishna couldn't break those ropes. Okay, so what? Was my question. But then we came across this very beautiful example. Kashto yadyapi bhidyate vanacharen ugrena bhringena vai tenai vatrana chidhyatem bhujapala shasidu mattalina itya swadya viguda tattva matulam balyepi yeno ditam tam damodara bhringa bhupa manisham vande yashoda sutam. We are in the last 5 minutes of our katha. Let us bring our attention back to this pastime. The example given is that of a honeybee. How many of us have heard of honeybees? Kashto yadyapi bhidyate. Although a honeybee, when it is very agitated, it has the power to break through wood. Don't ever agitate a honeycomb. It has the power to cut through, slice through, break through the deepest, strongest wood possible. When it's agitated, the honeybee can just drill through wood. But the same honeybee, when it lands on a lotus flower. Are we all in the example? Is everyone together on the same page? Are we all seeing a honeybee in front of us as the example? The honeybee, when it's agitated, when it's angry, it can get ferocious and it can drill through the thickest wood piece possible. But that same honeybee, when it lands on a lotus flower and it starts drinking the honey in the whorl of the lotus, the honeybee becomes so intoxicated, drinking the nectar of the whorl of the lotus flower, that at sunset the petals close. And the honeybee, who loves drinking the honey of the lotus flower, becomes so intoxicated. It, when agitated, can break through wood, but now it prefers to die in that lotus flower, bound by those petals, and loses all power to cut through those petals. Ityaswadya viguda tattvam balye piyenoditam. This example was shown by Krishna right in his childhood, because he's the honeybee. When Shishupal, Dantavakra, Kalayavana, Kamsa, Ravana, Kumbhakarna, like wood, they attack, and he gets ferocious. He can cut through, break through the wood. But when he lands on the lotus flower of Mother Yashoda's heart and starts drinking the nectar of her motherly love, this bumblebee becomes so attached, so intoxicated, so mesmerized and hypnotized as a bumblebee, drinking the nectar of motherly love from the lotus flower of Yashoda's heart, that when she ties the rope around his belly, it's like the petals of the lotus closing. And this bumblebee, Krishna, who can kill demons and break through wood, now prefers to be bound in that lotus flower out of love, and loses all power to cut the petal, the ropes of Mother Yashoda's love. Kuntī Devi is remembering this and saying, Krishna, you are the bumblebee. If you can do good and stay with your mother, Devaki, you killed Kamsa and stayed with her in Mathura. You killed all the demons and stayed with Yashoda. Think about it. When Kuntī Devi was telling Krishna, stay with me, Krishna said, I have killed all the demons, now it's time for me to go. So Kuntī Devi says, in the history, when you killed demons for your mother, you always stayed with her. You killed Kamsa and stayed with Devaki. You killed Agasur, Bakasur, Putana, Arishtasur, Shakatasur and stayed with Yashoda. Then why not kill the demons as you have done and stay with us? Remembering Yashoda Rani is not out of context. Please understand, it is the outpour of Kunti's prayers in line with her desire. And there's one desire she has throughout her prayers. Please repeat. Krishna, please don't leave us. With this prayer, she is offering so many names and adjectives and pastimes and offering this prayer. So at this point in today's discussion, we have finished up to text 31. So we offer our obeisances to Yashoda Rani. We have 2 more days to go and we have about 10 verses to cover. So hopefully by Krishna's mercy, by the blessings of all the Vaishnavas, we should be okay. Gaura Premanande. Thank you very much. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Jai Jai Sri Radhe Shyam. Dandavat Pranam. Hare Krishna.